Good morning and welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, and if you would like to join the debate, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page that you are currently watching on mute, simply click on that link to join the show and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are only a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected. Further to that, if you are ejected, please do not try to rejoin using sock accounts. You'll just be ejected again. Other than that, you are free for the time being at least to express your views on the shape of the Earth entirely unopposed, as there's nobody here because we've only just started. So with that, I'm going to transition across to my photograph so I can share the show on Facebook, Skype and Twitter, and I would encourage anybody who is currently in the live audience to please do the same. Please share the show on social media. With that, I'll say once more, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. So I've just finished sharing the show on social media being Skype, Facebook and Twitter for me. And as I say, if you are in the current live audience, please also share the show on your social media platforms. I will just do a few shout outs to the people who have joined us already in the live show, which is only a few of you, but I'll just say a quick hello to you. So The Rig, good to have you here. Very pleased to see you. JJ, good morning to you also. Shill Scanner, very good to see you here. Peanuts Clark, also very pleased to see you. Thank you for being here. Be sure to share the show. Peanuts says it's 4 a.m. here. That's pretty damn early, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. I may as well do a full series of plugs for anybody who's joined. There's about 14 or 15 people who've joined us in this impromptu live stream, as they don't have any particular time attached to them, so no one knows. So hence me encouraging people to hit the bell. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. And if you would like to join the debate, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page that you are currently watching on mute, simply click on that link to join the show and express your views on the shape of the Earth. As I've said, there are only a couple of rules. Do not swear, and if you are ejected for swearing, do not try to rejoin the show using sock accounts. So yeah, I may come back one or two more times if we are not joined by a guest, just to say exactly the same thing once more, or indeed to introduce our first guest once they get here. Hi to the Moon Matrix and Physics Warrior. There's no fargin swearing. Correct, Physics Warrior. So if one of you in the chat would do me the service of just clicking on the link and checking that the show actually does work. It's typically worked. So I've changed the way I format it slightly now and use a slightly different browser to actually get the show running, and it means it's a little bit tidier on screen as well. But yeah, if somebody in the audience would like to just click on that link and check that I can hear rustling of microphones and the show link does actually work, I'd be very, very grateful. Thank you very much.
Hello, Nathan.
Hello! Are you here to just test that it's all working, or did you actually want to express your views on the shape of the Earth?
Yeah, I'll stay for a second.
Oh, excellent. I can't quite see you.
Yeah.
I'm going to make my screen bigger so I can actually see who you are. Bear with me. Let's put you up on for the audience as well. I still can't see. What's your name, my friend?
Peanuts.
Oh, it's Peanuts. Oh, very good to have you, Peanuts. Very pleased to see you.
How you doing?
You enjoying the show
Yeah,
so far?
yeah. I've been really laughing at old David. He's real passionate.
Yeah, you could say
He
that.
uh he keeps he keeps the Glovers on their toes, huh? At least he tries to.
Yeah, a couple of the Globers were moaning that he talks over them. It's like, well, if he wasn't talking over you, Grim V would be talking over everyone else, so who cares, you know? People
Right,
talk over each other, that's just
right.
what we have in this arena.
Yeah. I'd say I didn't I didn't I didn't I didn't try to fall for, the be a follower. I didn't try to just, be a part of this group that is just rebelling. And I try to go back and look at look at stuff from different points of view. You know what I mean? And listening to the show, it can really help you with your argument. You know, that's one thing I get out of it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I visualize it, and this is when I've got my flat Earth hat on. And obviously, from this moment, I'm biased, and I'm happy to be because you're the only one here. But yeah, I just see it as boot camp. You know, it's a way of getting flat earthers that may have some misconceptions and wrong ideas, of putting those misconceptions and wrong ideas across to people who are, in the most part, very well educated in the heliocentric system, and they will dispel their ideas that are incorrect pretty quickly, and also give them other things to think about that they can go away and research. And in an arena where it's, for me at least, it's been a good couple of years now, I know that there may be people out there that this is just getting stagnant for, and you know they've run out of things to look at. For me, there's never going to be a shortage of things to look at in the arena of flat Earth. There's you know, the whole world of possibilities opens up, but that's not true for everybody. And instead, they start with the gossip and the drama, and it's like, no, the Earth is still flat. There's still a huge amount of stuff to look at and discuss and debate. And if you're not sharp in that regard, you need to be, because there's going to be people at some stage that come up to you and start asking you these questions. And they may not be as aggressive, they may not talk over you on a panel of 10 people, but if you can cope with that, you can cope with any, you know, your neighbour asking you a little question about flat Earth.
Right. Yeah, and just being able to express those points from both sides of the fence is always going to be helpful. So yeah, you're right. And it's almost like you have to swift through so much disinformation because flat Earth has just turned into almost like a clickbait type thing. You know, people know that that's what people are looking at and people are into. And I'm gonna make a prediction. I think flat Earth is a lot bigger than we think. I think there's more people that are looking into it than we think that are just on YouTube. But that's just my opinion. It's 4 o'clock in the morning here, so I just woke up.
If you want to hop off, I won't keep you here.
It's okay. I'll wait till somebody else comes on. I know it kind of sucks having dead air. At least it's you got
I don't
somebody to
mind.
listen to.
It's one of them that when there's photographs up, people generally know that means there's dead air or a new guest joining if there's actually a panel ready. But I mean, one thing that did interest me was Hank Hill yesterday was listening to A4 on this session, the early morning session, and he was like, "Oh, will it be frowned upon if I snipe him?" Well, obviously, yes, it will be frowned upon, but the reason he wanted to snipe him was because he was getting irritated with Adam continually talking over him and sort of stating something that he didn't necessarily agree with. Hold on, I'm just going to fish something out of my kid's mouth. Can I have that, please?
Yeah,
But
I've
sorry,
lis-
go
I've
ahead.
listened to I've listened to Hank Hill for a couple shows, and he seems like he's kind of on the fence, but he's well versed in his argument. You could tell.
Yeah, I may speak for him. He'll correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure if he gets to hear this, but I think by taking the stance he does, he doesn't put the Globers on the back foot immediately by saying I firmly believe the Earth is flat. You know, he's by taking a sort of agnostic approach, he can almost pretend like he's putting a devil's advocate argument for flat Earth across, and that makes it easier to debate, I think, for Hank. I think it's a very smart tactic, regardless of his views, if he thinks it's a sphere or a flat. I think it's a very, very clever debating tactic. So yeah, my hat's off to him. But what I was going to say about Hank was when somebody with a very poor debating tactic, which was Adam, you know, making himself look pretty terrible by just shouting and getting angry a lot and talking over everybody with the same point over and over again. And Hank was like, well, can I snipe him out because this is getting irritating? And I said, well, no, I want people to see that. You know, people might not know that that type of person is in flat Earth, that, you know, that they're putting that kind of opinion across to people and the way they put it across. And if you just snipe somebody like that out of the hangout because it's irritating, people don't get to see that or figure out how to cope with it. Like, no, in real life, you can't just snipe people. You know, if someone is in front of you, in your face, screaming at you, saying you're an idiot, you have to learn how to cope with that. You can't just say, you know, eject when you're on a bus or something. You know, that's not how it works.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. And hopefully, you know, that Adam guy, hopefully he learned something. You know, hopefully he took something away from that, you know. Probably not, but
Well, here's my secondary concern. You know, third concern is that he gets a platform to actually express that on. You know, and I did say that to him. You know, this is what it's for. It's here for you to express that view. If you think we're all shills and paid to put disinformation out there, you're welcome to express that to the audience. But the primary purpose is so that the audience hear that, and then they can go away and assess that and decide if it's true or not. But they need to hear it first in order to assess it, in order to, you know, put their stamp of approval on it if that's what they're going to do.
right. Yeah, I think it's. I remember. I remember just like a little over a year and a half ago. I would always I was checking channels to see if any new Flat Earth videos had popped up. I remember having to wait for a live hangout, you know, for people to talk about Flat Earth, and now you got so much to choose from, you know. It's crazy. It's crazy how much the last 2 years have changed.
Yeah, for definite. I remember doing
For
live
me, it
streams a couple of
has.
years ago, and I'd get 200, 250 people in the audience, and it was because I was the only person at that moment live streaming about Flat Earth. So if you were interested in a live show about Flat Earth, that was it. You know, I would pick times that
Yeah,
no one else was streaming. There are no times now that no one else is streaming. None. Doesn't matter when you stream. You will go into Flat Earth Live if you type it in and do the filters, and you'll see at least 4 live shows at once running, always. Amazing.
well, I was hoping Jaren's canal test would really show something, but I guess doing that test isn't as easy as you would think, you know. Setting up boards, shooting a laser, you know. It sounds easy, but I guess once you're doing it, it seems like it's not that easy.
Got to do it
And
though. If you're failing, you've got to fail first in order to succeed.
right.
So right now, if you were to type in Flat Earth Live, or just Flat Earth and go to the live filter, you'd get Mr. Poncho Pete Chan Strong, Earth Discernment, me, Celebrate Truth. So that's 4. Well, at least there's 4. Otherwise, I'd have sounded
Yeah.
very silly.
Yeah,
FPV
you're
Angel,
right
no, that's
because
another. There's 5. There's another one. Finding the Curve, there's another one. There is 6. There's 6 live streams right now that you could pick from.
Yeah, it wasn't like that 2 years ago.
Yeah. I just remember getting in touch with Patricia and going, "Are you going to do a live stream tonight?" "You are?" "Oh no, I've got a guest too. What time's your live stream?" "Oh, I'll rearrange mine. I'll put it back then." You know, and you'd arrange it in such a way that you know you wouldn't be overlapping with someone else. Now I don't even ask. It's like, you know, if Mark Sargent's doing a live stream, then that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah, people didn't want to step on each other's toes.
Yeah, but that changed about 12 months ago, and sometimes people were literally deliberately starting up streams when I started.
Right.
That's good, you know. Good that you've got choice. Been joined by Physics Warrior. I can finally go on mute and stop this beeping garbage truck disposal people from disturbing us. So I'm going to put myself on mute. Hello, Physics Warrior. Pleased to have you here.
Hey, Nathan. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hey, Peanuts.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, pretty good. I know this is a certain like a debate show, but technically, on a side note, I know I've been speaking with a lot of people out there, and yeah, it's much easy to speak about like the models and the shape either side, either whether it's a sphere or a ball. But when it comes to actually someone that's a Christian, a Catholic, a Jehovah's Witness, it's very, very, very hard. But my stance on this right now is that what I see is flat Earth being a leaderless movement, and then somebody's bringing a book that's coming out of the global mind. I see it's like pretty much of a um, let's just say an oxymoron, or bringing a book that you're serving as an authority on a leaderless movement. So that's my stance with that. How I see it. I'm not sure how you see it, Peanuts. So this is what I'm coming across with the flat Earth community.
Are you saying like?
Well, what you think about? How about you yourself? I don't want to put you on a spot, and I know exactly you're within the community. Now, my question is that I know that from if you're able to see Bro Sanchez in the Sun and Moon group, he was able to speak with other people too, and he also has a hard time speaking with the flat earthers too. That's also that's into religion. So what I'm trying to say is that, not to put you on a spot, how do you feel being a flat earther?
Well, I will tell you that I was as a kid, I was brought up as a Christian. It was shoved in my face growing up, so I wasn't really old enough to challenge it, and I was told not to question it. And then of course, right then when I started looking into the flat Earth, of course it made me pick up my Bible, and it made me think, oh, this is real, But I started digging in, and I started looking in it for myself, and I started to realize that it's it's not about what a book says. It's not about what men put in a book. It's really about what I feel is right and what I know is from right and wrong. And I started to stop reading the Bible because I felt like it was turning me into a judgmental person. I felt like people that weren't doing it were lower than me, and I realized that wasn't right. So I totally understand where you're coming from with that. I feel like flat Earth should be facts only. Whether the Earth is a globe, whether it is flat, I don't think any religion should be brought into it. And I actually listened to Bro Sanchez last night, and I could see how he's having a hard time getting people to accept that.
Yeah, with my family members, I also came from a Catholic background, the Latin rite, and I also was groomed into it as well. Altar boy, choir. Went through all the went through all the books, learned the scriptures, looked at it, and then I had to really make my choice. Um, Really inside, just for myself, what I felt when I did make that choice and actually walked away from it, I just felt I don't know, 5,000 pounds lighter and a little bit more powerful. Like I'm able to move more freely, and my thoughts are a little bit more clearly. And that's how I felt once I actually put the book down and actually took all the self recognitions, all the responsibilities, and not to use actually the third person involved. You know. Nathan, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm just keeping on
Playing.
mute because my kid's playing with the noisy toys at the moment, that's all.
I had I mean, I have a link. I mean, it's just just a good. It's a good like 4 minutes if you can put it into the screen for the audience to see. Is that possible or?
Yeah, I don't mind. What is it?
How do I put it? Do I put it in the back chat or?
Yeah, so if you scroll to the over the Hangout left hand side of the page, a row of tabs appears. Top of that, there's a internal chat.
Okay.
Just paste it in there, and I'll pick it up off the
Okay.
screen.
Let me put it right in. Hold on. Give me a second.
There's something
This
that.
guy's from UK, so go ahead, Peanuts.
Well, I was just trying to talk while you were pulling that up. There's something
Okay.
there that Tim Osmond said, not IPS, but Tim Osmond. He said, there's no, doing a flat Earth test. There's no rainbow at the end of it, and
And that's from Timmy.
yeah, and seeing, and I think what I took from that as what he was saying is it's it's going to be very, very hard to prove that physically the ground is flat. There is no curvature, and I'm starting to realize that is hard with atmospheric lensing, um, weather conditions. I mean, look at
Refractions. Yeah.
look at Jaren. I mean, he's yet to provide any results. Obviously he's not wanting to provide anything because the test isn't complete. Whether it's showing curvature, I don't know, but
I think, but
that tells me something. That I
yeah,
mean, look how hard it is. I mean, only four
yeah,
miles. I mean,
yeah,
look how hard that is. I mean, that really that told me something there, and it always made me go back
yeah.
and
It's
think
just
what Tim said. Go ahead.
yeah. What I'm seeing is that I mean, neither party has yet to actually define the shape. So it's more to me that I see it as the magician is hidden, and what he has
Right.
given us is actually a whole bunch of illusions: moon matrix, a sun and moon matrix, the atlas plane, mirrors of an effect. One side thinks it's round, and one side thinks it's flat. But from what I'm seeing right now is that I think that the mass of this Earth itself is much larger than it would appear. Also, just to cite Riley is saying it's the size of Jupiter based on the books, but Jupiter to me is just a one light as well. But anyways, I think beyond the Arctics is actually another continents, which they are saying, but more than one. However, is that with the control groups involved and the strong psyops and then leading us into the Arctics, there's got to be some kind of agenda or something that they're hiding that they know a little bit more of the shape than we do. Um, Now, as far as with also, you did mention about Hank Hill being on a, you and Nathan talking about Hank Hill being on somewhat of a on a fence side. He's able to actually move left and right. I support Nathan because he's not claiming really the shape at all because to me it's not defined and I see it to him as well. So it seems like just to claim just the shape is really a rabbit hole. And then we wind up with people defining with equations and saying this is it, this is flat. Even though
Yeah.
they're showing us a model that it's flat, it's a curve. I'm seeing a flat ruler with the flat dimensions, a flat sphere.
Right.
It just when we're talking about Snell's laws and they're talking about the radius, I see a flat dimension with the right angle. It's still flat to me. Um, Now, I also in history, I did see a little bit of research prior to uh, the Gleason map and also creating the Earth ball. There's supposed to be four continents up north in the northern area, and they're not showing it for some reason. So, and then for some reason, people are saying that the North Polaris is the North Pole, but I'm also finding there's three northern pole sectors. I believe celestial, magnetic or a third. However, for any compass that I pick up, it still points to magnetic north, and for some reason, things is coming out of that northern part of the area that nobody's talking about. So I just thought I'd just put this out in the air.
There's a group of guys. I think they're called Flat Earth Paradise. Have you heard of them?
Never heard of them. No, never heard of them.
I believe that's their name. And right now, as we speak, they are making their way to the North Pole, and they're kind of documenting it.
Oh, that's good.
How long? I believe their channel. Go ahead.
How long was this research, or how do you know about this group, or how long has this been going on?
Well, I caught one of their videos, and they were talking about, so far what they've done. They were talking about all the support that they are getting. It was four guys, and they were, hopefully they're truthful. Hopefully they're telling the truth. But they were describing how they are making their way to the North Pole, and they are going to document, and they're going to film for us what they find. So,
yeah, I want to check. I want to check that out. I mean, in their vids, do they explain anything that, or actually the research, they explain anything about the North Pole, or just saying that they're actually going to take the expedition to the North Pole?
yeah, it says they're making their way, and just I've only watched a few of their videos, and I believe their channel is called Flat Earth Paradise.
Okay.
If you want to look that up, and
yeah, after this, I definitely will.
I think that that'll be great, because it'll at least show people what happens when you try to make it that way. Whether they get turned around or not.
True.
Because really, that's our only way of really knowing, is just going. And it's not like I can just get up and just go backpacking. I have a family. I have a full-time job.
Yeah, me too.
I wish I could do that stuff. That's because being in this for almost 2 years now, it's making me want to explore. It's making me want to go out there for myself and look. And I think that is the scariest part of groups of people that control where we live. I think that's what they mostly worry about, is because they want people to stay put.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel. But
and probably that's why they put a NATO peace treaty with guns exposed in the Arctic, just to make it seem like we need to go to the Arctic. Who knows? But heck, 50% of the population there, 50% up north. Somebody's going to come back with some kind of information.
Yeah,
but who knows?
And
but also,
go ahead.
I've also heard like little bits and pieces of history of there's like supposedly 4 continents around there. Sanchez even mentioned Turtle Islands in there. Eden's coming out of there. Let's see, ecosystems. I mean, the actual place there is like, it's warm weather in there. What else? And other civilizations too. So a diversity that we're not being told about. So that's what's, that's why I'm questioning a lot about the North Pole.
Well, and it's, if you look at a lot of the big channels, the big flat Earth channels, nobody really talks about the North Pole.
No,
Everybody
we're
always
talking about
South Pole.
Yeah, it's where the gun's exposed. So
Right.
Who knows? It's pretty So, but the North Pole's supposed to have a lot of information up there, and then the South Pole, we don't pretty much know exactly what's beyond that Arctic ring. Nathan?
Yes.
Is there a way you could put on the link at all so we
Oh,
could
did you
all see
post it? I
this?
didn't see it get posted. Sorry. Let's have a look.
Oh, you did. You did. Okay. All
I'll
right.
just have a look.
I
Bear
didn't
with me.
see
I'll
it.
just have a look in the chat.
Yeah,
Nothing in the chat. Did you post it in the main chat?
No, I'm in the phone, so I can't see the chat at all.
Oh, all right. Okay.
I only have one eye.
Yeah, I don't know how you can post it to me.
But anyways, Peanuts, Nathan, I'm gonna leave and come right back. I'm just gonna go out for like a little bit of coffee, and then I'm gonna try to either join you guys in a hangout.
All right, man.
All right. Nice talking to you, Nathan. Nice talking to you, Peanuts.
You too.
Massive thank you to Physics for being here.
Anthony Riley.
Oh, we've got Anthony Riley. Good
Hola.
to see you. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm out in the car at the minute. I'm just trying headset with a built-in microphone, and I'm just trying it to see if it actually works.
Sounds really clear.
Just,
really
I guess
good.
it's really a mic check. Am I coming through okay?
Yeah, it sounds really good.
Wow,
really good.
I was gonna leave, and I didn't know Riley was the sleeping warrior. Hey, Riley.
How are you doing?
All right, but good. Just wanted to say hello to please say hello to you.
Cool.
Take care, everybody.
How's my microphone? Is it okay, or does it sound a bit shit compared to normal?
Sounds really good. Really good.
I'm impressed. It works. Yeah, I'm actually driving in the middle of Preston at the minute, but I'm on a hands-free headset with a built-in microphone, but it's Bluetooth. So it's one of those that I get the noise blocked out from the vehicle, road noise, and I can actually hear you guys and speak, and that should be it.
If you didn't tell me you were in a car, I wouldn't know.
Really cool. So I missed last night's chat where David was in. I was going to listen to it now, actually, on the way home, but while you're live, I may as well come in and chat anyway instead. But David gets a bad press, but that David is actually really quite good. He deserves a lot more respect than what the panel give him.
Yeah, they just laugh at him. And I want that scene. You know, I'm not going to stop them doing that because there's going to be people out there like yourself that recognise that. And often
Yes.
he would put points. I can't remember who explained this. It might have even been Hank. That the paradigm that each party is in, flat Earth on one side, globe Earth on the other, is so alien to the other. Not necessarily so much on the flat Earth side, because most of them have come from the globe to begin with, but certainly for the people that aren't on the flat plane, they cannot wrap their head around how we perceive things. They just can't visualise it, so they always have the presupposition that the Earth is curved. Was it Paper Explainer that was talking about a gyroscope yesterday? I think you did. I think you were in the chat for that one, Anthony.
Yeah. Well, that gyroscope conversation, when I realised that he was talking about the drift, when it's not moving, I realised that what he's talking about is the effect of the ether on a gyroscope, and the gyroscope is affected by the ether, and we know that because what's it called? What's that effect called when it's the eclipse?
Are you talking about when the Foucault pendulum?
No, it's the one that affects the pendulum as well. It's called the something effect, the Elias effect. What
Right.
he's observing, and he doesn't realise he's observing it, is the Elias effect. A gyroscope is affected by electromagnetic interference. That is the ether. That is the detection of the ether. The argument is, well, you can't detect the ether. Well, you actually can. You see it with the gyroscope when it's not moving. It will drift. That's the ether affecting the gyroscope, and we know that because the Elias effect shows that when there's an eclipse, you don't get that anymore. So, something changes electromagnetically with the eclipse. So, yeah, sorry guys, the eclipse does exist. What he's observing in that gyroscope thing is directly the consequence of the ether changing the way the gyroscope's drifting. So his argument about it being apparent drift, well, actually, it should really be rephrased as ether drift. But they will never do that because the heliocentric argument doesn't account for the ether in any event anyway. But and that's you can demonstrate that by if you go to Google and then do a search for magnetic field map, and then hit images. you can see that there are 4 poles on the Earth. Now, obviously, on the heliocentric model, there should only be 2, and they should be directly north and directly south, and it should correlate with where the North Pole is, and roughly. But there's 4, and I've never actually asked a baller to explain that, but we should really put that to them and say, can you explain this? Because on the heliocentric model, there should only be 2. We should all be able to predict where they should be, and there shouldn't be 4. And that really doesn't make sense on the heliocentric model. They'd have to come up with some mathematics to explain it, because it is a problem. There shouldn't be 4 poles, but we see that on the electromagnetic map.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably as well versed with the gyroscope arguments as I am. Well, I'm probably a bit better from the sounds of things, actually. But there's a couple of things. One, I'd like to see a globe Earther travel 90 degrees around what they claim is a sphere Earth. And yes, we can measure and observe and account for mechanical drift. I would say that that's well within our capabilities to account for that. The ether drift, that's a new one on me. But wouldn't you still, if it was a sphere, be able to literally see that gyroscope stay rigid in its reference point to the North Pole for the sake of argument, and then see the case around it turn 90 degrees in reference to the ground if it was a sphere?
We can simplify it. We can simplify it and just ask anybody to do a 5-hour-long haul flight.
That's what I mean, with the gyro. Exactly. That's exactly what I mean. So you travel with a gyro, you spin it up at the beginning of your flight, travel a quarter of the way around the Earth, and watch the case turn. Yeah.
And obviously that's what they all do with the horizon, or the attitude indicator. That's exactly what it does. They say that the pendulous vanes account for it. Oh, I'm going to get sniped here, Nathan.
No, I've already kicked him out. He was the person that tried to snipe you last time.
I just saw I got a notify saying that he was coming in. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. But they say that the pendulous vanes corrects for the drift, the rotation of the Earth. Well, the pendulous vanes are rigid, so that gives them a fixed constant if they are to be correcting for the rotation of the Earth. That also means that the gyroscope, when it's span up on the runway when the plane's not moving, would also be correcting for the compensating for the rotation of the Earth that it's not doing because it's stationary. So the pendulous vanes argument's complete bunkum, but they argue that it does, but it doesn't. I keep getting notifies to tell me stuff, but I don't know what it's telling me. It keeps interrupting me, but yeah, the gyroscope proves absolutely that there is no curve, but they just won't accept it.
Right. I mean, I've put my caveats in first so that you would say that sentence, because if I now describe to you, say, balls in a shed, Cavendish, right? Would you not look at that and say, that's a ludicrous way of proving gravity? But by the same token, a machine like a gyroscope, for me, would be a ludicrous way of trying to prove the Earth is flat. It's the same sort of argument for both machines, if that makes sense.
It is. The Cavendish experiment doesn't do what they tell us it does, and the problem is, I've tried to repeat the Cavendish, and it's really hard to find a suitable building to isolate it so that it's not influenced by drafts, because they've all got doors and windows. And even if you did find one, it does. Do you know? I'm getting notifies to say stuff, but I don't know what it's telling me.
I don't know either. I would imagine that once the person has joined the Hangout, even though I've sniped them, they're still in the Google Hangouts. Hangouts, not Hangouts on Air page. So maybe they're just trying to distract you.
Yeah, they're targeting me, aren't they?
It seems so. It seems so. And good. I'm glad I sniped that person out while we're having this conversation, because it's clear they don't like what you've got to say, Anthony. That's the bottom line.
No, they Anthony, don't like it.
Anthony, how do you piss so many people off? Like what?
I present evidence that shit's all over their arguments and they can't counter it. No, the Blackpool Tower observation at 30 miles. Nobody. Jeremy's been invited to repeat it with me. He won't do it, and he knows why. We all know why. He will not do it. He claims that he doesn't feel safe. If he went up to do it, he could bring friends with him and we could do it as a day out. I've invited him to do it, and I expect him to do it, but he's not going to do it. Tells you a lot about the guy, right? He knows there is evidence out there that shit's all over his argument. He ignores it.
Well, didn't Soundly invite people to come see the curved lake?
Do you know, I've really thought of getting a flight over there and going looking at it myself, because, I mean, it's clearly an atmospheric effect, but is it the way that he's been showing it? And I want to know, is it actually the way that he presents it, or is it? Because if it is, it would be really quite cool, because I can see why it would be argued to be curved. But I also see that we have that mirage thing on the horizon that blocks what we see, and that stops. It's clearly interfering with stuff. And if that creates an effect that it makes it look like it's dropping behind the curve of the Earth, well, that is quite interesting. But the drop that it creates is way more than the curve that we're supposed to see, and he won't acknowledge that.
I know that photo and that those little clips of those power lines, man. That was a big deal. You know, a lot of people didn't want to let that.
To be fair, it is a big deal. It is a fair observation in some respects. I just wonder, has he played with it in some way? Because I've seen other people showing that same footage, and it's flat as a pancake. So I wonder, is it soundly that's changing it, or is it the atmospherics that vary, and it gives it the perception that it's flat at times as well as curved? But yeah, the gyroscopes basically proves that we do not spin. There is no curvature of Earth. You can argue about apparent drift. You can argue about mechanical drift. I mean, even the argument for mechanical drift is exaggerated. It's nowhere near as significant as what they say, because we can put a gyroscope on a clock, spin it in 15 degrees, cause the friction of the bearing.
I agree, man. So the argument is on an airplane, the vanes are causing the movement, right?
No, the argument is that the pendulous vanes correct for the rotation of the Earth.
They correct for it. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but if that's true, it would be correcting for the rotation of the Earth whilst the plane sat on the runway for an hour because it's been delayed, and we know that does not happen, because it's a fixed reference point. And when you're flying one way around the Earth, if you're going with the spin of the Earth, it would record double the curvature. And then if you're going against the spin of the Earth, it would record half. And we know that doesn't happen either.
Right.
Nathan, wow. Are all these soccer counts coming in? Is that what that noise is?
Only for you. So I think, like I say, because there's two sides to Hangouts. Hangouts on Air and Hangouts, which used to just be the social media platform and nothing to do with the live broadcasting. The two are now integrated, and that's the reason you can snipe. But once you're in the Hangout call, even though I've sniped you out the on-air part, they're still in the social media part, which is separate. So they can still contact you, even though they're not in the Hangout.
Well, nice to know that I influenced them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad that we're having this conversation. You know, people are so keen to shut you up and censor you and boot you that they're going to go in and disrupt you in the Hangout screen while you're just having a chat on air. Amazing. There's
only one person, as far as I'm aware, there's only the one person that's doing that.
Oh yeah, who's that?
Virgin Mars, P Mars.
P Mars.
I'm sure he's the only one that's doing it.
He did specifically say that he would then, once I booted him for swearing, he said, I'm going to snipe every single one of your Hangouts from now on. So it's like, why would you make that confession if that's what you intend to do? Just say nothing.
Because because his intention is to disrupt the flat Earth conversations at all costs. But he does it with a smile on his face, and people think that that's acceptable. And I don't think. I just think he's an idiot. I can see why he's still a virgin at 31 years old.
Yeah, no need. P Mars is a good guy. You know, I speak to P Mars reasonably infrequently, not often, but you know, you laughing at yourself on camera. Is that what it is? And he's a good guy. He's a very nice guy. He's reasonably well researched. You know, I like P Mars. I'm not gonna lie. That's not why I've got a lot of tolerance for him. I just like him. I think he's a good guy.
Well, I used to like him when he was in ISIS chat because I actually thought he was a reasonable person. But the person is different to his persona. His persona is this idiot. The person may well be different, but his persona online is terrible.
Yeah, very well put.
Let me just share with you some of that happened that was really cool last night. I was getting the usual amount of abuse from baller channel, baller channels, and I was basically laughing. There was a guy that made a comment along the lines of, Riley, you're so hated that even flat earthers don't like you. And I was like, do you know what? The people that don't like me in flat earth, I don't actually mind them not liking me because they're the people that I don't want to engage with. But at the time that he made that comment, I was actually in a 5-hour chat offline with Patricia Steer, Ranty Rant about flat earth in context, all the good stuff, not in negative. It was all positive. It came Patricia, and she just laughed. And Ranty realised that there's a lot of negative flat earthers out there, a lot. And you know, I've got no time for the people who hate me in flat earth. That's fine. I'm more than comfortable with that. I'm happy with my hate list. But for the people that do like me within flat earth, they're the only people that I'm interested in, and that's why I don't really engage with that many people, to be honest, because I find that there is a cancer within flat earth. There are people in flat earth that just hate the way that it runs because they're not in it. They're not included. But there's a reason why these people are not included. And I'm more than happy with certain flat earthers, even if it's 50% of flat earthers. If you don't like me and you're on the flat earth side, so what? You know what? I'm not bothered about that. I'm bothered about getting the evidence, presenting it, and then having the discussion, the debate, having the disagreements, seeing who's made mistakes or whatever, because that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the evidence that supports one version over the other. And the truth is, there is no curvature. It's demonstrably the case, continuously, all over the earth. English, American, people are doing curvature tests all over the earth and not getting curved. How can that be if it's a fluke to do with standard refraction? Because standard refraction is supposed to be a variable, and it doesn't do it. You're a flat earther and you hate me, fine. I mean, I'm cool with that. I know the people that like me and trust me in flat earth, and I'm fine with that. So for the ballers that say even flat earthers don't like you, that's cool. I'm not trying to make friends and influence people. Positive within flat earth, present the evidence and see how it's taken. And if I make a mistake, so be it. If the evidence supports a narrative over the other, so be it. It's all about the evidence for me, and that's not about making friends within flat earth. And I don't want half the friends in flat earth that are in flat earth either. Half the people in flat earth are cancer, really bad. And that was why we were chatting to Patricia. Ranty's making friends with flat earthers that, in my opinion, are the cancer. And he's wondering why he's feeling disillusioned at the minute. And the reality is because he's making friends with the wrong people, and those people are making all the negative waves within flat earth. And he's not riding positive waves because he's not found the positive people into flat earth through me. But when he found flat earth, I was a positive influence with him, not a negative. But he started mixing in with people, and he's realising that he's got disillusioned, and the negative people are influencing his perception, even though he knows they're flat. He's just not sure how flat earth's working. A 5-hour chat with Patricia last night. And now Ranty should be feeling a lot better about stuff because he realises that there are people in flat earth that are not nice people. So,
just so you know, Anthony, your car Bluetooth is now kicked in and it sounds awful. Just so you know.
Hang on a second. Something's happening.
Can you hear me? Your car Bluetooth has taken over and it now sounds awful. Oi, come away from my live stream, you. Come away.
Anthony, as long as you don't tell me that I'm gonna burn in hell if I don't accept Jesus, I have no problem with you. But once you say something like that, I can't handle that. I can't deal with that. That's why I felt like the Flat Earth Conference didn't represent me. Because they just stamped religion all over it. And I'm sorry, but accepting Jesus is not going to help us get out of this system. I didn't mean to bring religion into it, but you still there, Anthony?
Yeah, I'm listening. I think Anthony's just sorting his Bluetooth headset.
It is weird how much hate he gets and how much ridicule he gets, and maybe it's because Anthony is confident. Maybe they sense that. I don't know, but that is weird. I mean, he like he said, even some flat earthers don't like him, you know, and I've never really seen why. I mean, that's just my opinion. I think his little car Bluetooth stopped working.
Yeah, I think you're right. But we got the majority of what he said, even if the last bit was a bit crackled.
But you know, y'all mentioned David earlier.
Am I back?
Yes,
Yeah.
you are.
No. Well, y'all mentioned David earlier, and man, if he can refrain, I mean, if he can get his argument, better on topic and the timing, and if he could stick with an open-ended question and then let it be answered,
Yeah, but the problem with
he,
that, a flat earther will then take that silence and then, or somebody else change topic, not realizing that it was a clincher.
yeah, it doesn't stay on one topic. It jumps around, and then that gets everybody talking over each other.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, Sleeping Warrior. We've had exactly that with you. So you and Curved Water, there was about 8 people on the panel. You're going back and forth. You take probably 15 minutes over the top of other conversations to lead him down a path and finally get your question in. And what happens? 2 flat earthers come in with their... No, don't get me wrong, they were very good questions, but it completely railroaded your excellent point. Please don't end my live stream. Come here. Stop touching the screen. Yeah, so it was one where I don't really want to interrupt ever, but that was one time that it was like, come on, it's taken 15 minutes to get to this stage, and you're just going to ask a new question when he gets to the point that he's finally got him on the ropes.
I guess that's where flat earth naivety kicks in, because I mean, one guy was clearly not with the conversation, the other guy was half with it, and then thought that I was making no point. And then not interrupted, but topic changed. And obviously that was the moment when, thankfully, Nathan realised it. But Curved knows that he can't get out of that corner. He knows this. And that's why any conversation with curvature, if I'm about when it's happening, I'll pop on and I'll just recite the same stuff and wait for them to try and prove otherwise, because nobody's able to prove otherwise. Am I still here?
Yeah, there's just no one to interrupt you.
It's weird because I've just realised that my headset batteries have died. That was why I got kicked off before, and I didn't realise I was off. But now I know what's wrong. I just need to go and put a bit of charge in it, and it'll work. And it works fabulous. So I'm now back onto my phone at the minute, which is not ideal for what I'm doing, but it'll work for now. But yeah, I mean, Curved, he still argues for the sphere. I mean, for me, it's that simple. If we should be able to detect it all over the Earth, reliably, continuously, all the time, and we can't do it. And the ballers know that there is evidence out there that does not support their argument. So what they then must do is change topic, take it to another one, and start arguing things like stellar aberration, or 70 miles of 1 degree, and that's 70 miles 1 degree of curve. Yeah, that's totally explained on a flat Earth, totally explained. But that they either ignore it or refuse to accept it. But it can be explained.
We've been joined by Huey. Very pleased to have you here, Huey.
What's going on, Huey?
Hello, Nathan. Following on from what I was talking about on the hangout before last, here's the link to John Savage's blog. Title is Gyroscope Basics and the Pendulous Vein Fallacy. This is the link that Hank requested, so you can read up on what I was talking about. So there it is. So I said I'd provide the link, and there it is.
Much obliged. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Nathan. Anyway, dinner's on table. I've got to get going.
All right. I just went and made a cup of coffee. You drink coffee, Nathan?
Yeah, very much so. I was a rep and kind of when I had an expense account, I could just buy Starbucks and all the expensive coffees, and I kind of got a bit addicted. So I ended up buying a proper espresso machine. So yeah, I do love coffee.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Anthony, you still in the car?
Yeah. I'm nearly done my journey now. Car now, or is it still reasonable?
It sounds all right. I mean, look, like Nathan said, I would have never known you were in a car.
Now that you're on the phone, it still sounds fine.
I'm impressed with technology improvements recently. If we're able to do this simply with a mobile phone and a Bluetooth headset that's like somewhat better than earbuds and one of those inline microphones, if you actually get a decent set, it's almost as if you sat at home. My only worry is I'm so detached from the car environment. Am I actually concentrating on the environment that I'm in, or am I am I failing to concentrate on the environment because it's immersive when you're engaged in a conversation? If you have the quality of the call that's almost like you sat at home in front of the telly, are you actually paying attention? And that's the only thing that I'm concerned about, because I'm not paying attention to speed limits and distances and all that. Or am I that immersed that you don't realize that is it that much of a distraction that you can't drive if it's that good? And that appears to be the case at the minute. I have it that good. I've just got to be aware that I may or may not be paying as much attention to the road or to the job I'm doing, because it's so immersive. Because it is immersive when you're listening to people discussing, debating, fighting, disagreeing, presenting evidence, and you look. I mean, you get that involved in it that you don't. You're immersed in it, aren't you? You're in it. So are you in it to the expense of the driving that I'm doing, or are you in it and you're still able to operate totally normally? And I haven't worked out which one it is yet. So when I get a bit of charge in my battery in my headset, I'll test it next time I'm doing it. I'll just see how much I actually am driving compared to what I should be driving, and do I feel as though it's safe? Because it's that immersive that it might not actually be safe. It may be a bad thing. So I just have to keep behind it and see how that goes.
I'd say the other way around. I mean, in the past, again, when I was a rep driving around and I was constantly on the phone via the Bluetooth system, which was crappy, and because you were having to struggle to hear what was being said, and people were constantly saying, "Can you repeat that? Can you repeat that?" because of the road noise, you were just distracted by the conversation being around the technology. Whereas when you can actually hear what's going on, you pay a whole lot less attention to the technology having to actually work, and you can just focus on the road. So maybe it's the other way around, or at least in my mind.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. That's how the Bluetooth was working. You'd have a little earbud, and you'd still get all the background noise of you driving. But the headset I've got is one of those ones that cuts right over the ear, so it effectively drowns out a lot of the background noise. You know, like tire noise and wind noise and cars going past you and all that. You don't even hear that because it's being cancelled. It's being muted or muffled, so you can hear Nathan talking as though you're actually sat next to him, and you're kind of detached from the environment that you're in. And that's what I realized before when I was chatting to you. I realized that, I can see what's going on and I can react to it, but I'm not hearing it because I'm hearing that it's all being cancelled out and Nathan's chatting away as though I'm sat next to him. And it dawned on me that I may not be paying as much attention that I should be, and I'm just gonna have to monitor it and see, is it actually a risk, or is it, no, it's not actually a risk, it's fine. But it was just a new experience for me. I've not had this experience with a decent headset that would negate the driving background noise and allow me to communicate with you and hear you as though I'm sat next to you. It was just surreal, but it's just new technology making things different. And it's like, can you adapt to that change without taking too many risks? And if it's the case that you can, then this would work perfectly for me. But if I'm that isolated and able to become that engrossed or in the call, that might not be a good thing. So I may not actually be able to do it. But it seemed to work fine before, and so my batteries went flat. Just need to plug them in.
It's just noise cancelling. Is that what it's basically it?
Well, there's noise. I don't know if it's got noise cancelling, but they go over the ear. They don't go in the ear like an earbud. They go over the ear like two half coconuts. You know, like the old style headset. But I bought them specifically to do exactly what I thought it would do. And it seems to do exactly what I thought it would do, but it might actually do it too well. I'm just going to have to test it next time, just see how it works. But now I know that it does work, and it seems to work perfectly. It might be the case that I'll be able to use it totally, fine. But it also might be the case that I'm too immersed in the conversation. So it's just a case of setting your parameters about how good it is.
Chat's moaning at you. Chat's moaning at you, Anthony, saying, "Where's the debate gone? Why is he talking about his tech?"
I think it's just because there's no ball. I think America are in bed asleep, aren't they? So because they're all asleep, most people are not able to be up and about and whatever. And even PMARS has to sleep sometimes.
Yeah, and the Brits know the Earth is flat.
Yeah. Gyroscopes don't prove curvature. They prove that there's no curve. Attitude indicators prove that there is no curve. Planes don't show any curve. P900s show that there is no curve. Standard refraction is subject to proving curvature, so you can't even argue that it's a thing until you can prove curvature, in my opinion. Standard refraction, basically, they say that it makes a curved Earth look flat. But to prove that, you need to show that it is curved for us to accept that refraction is doing what you say it does. Otherwise, it's illusion. You're trying to make us think that something's there when it's not. So anyone that argues for standard refraction, okay, we'll consider it as a thing if you could show curve first, because you can't say it's an illusion unless you show that it's actually an illusion. And to do that, you have to show that it's curved. And then even if they could show that it was curved, because they'll come up with Pontchartrain, you then take them down how refraction is a calculation of arc mathematics based on 7/6 of the radius of the Earth, and then take them through why that's not the case in the citation that Mick West cites, and therefore it can be dismissed because it's completely not what that article says. So it's kind of limited, really. For me, the flat Earth discussion kind of stops at curvature. Does it need to go any further? Need to get into rotation, gravity? They're secondary to it, but essentially it is about the curve. We should be able to detect the curve of the smallness that they tell us that we live on. Thankfully, they don't tell us that we live on something the size of Jupiter, because that will be a lot harder to prove. But they tell us that we live on a P prove, because we can see that 8 inches per mile squared over a bit of distance, 25, 30, 35 miles, becomes a lot. Seeing that, they argue that refraction is a thing. Okay, well, show us the curve, and then we'll accept refraction is what you're telling us it is. But until you can prove that curve, it's an illusion. It's mathematics. And I use the word mathematics exactly the way I mean it. Myth. It's not based in empirical evidence. It's based on myths, which is that we live on a ball. So show us the curve. Why is it not repeatable? Why is it not achievable? Why can't we all get it all over the Earth easily? Well, refraction. Yeah, but we've just dealt with that. And for me, the conversation doesn't need to go any further than that. I mean, yeah, you can wander off with gravity and rotation. You can start talking about the stars and the celestial sphere, but they're all explained with a flat Earth, and you can't distinguish between the two models. So I don't accept that this celestial sphere is anything more than the flat Earth model, because it works both ways. Tim doesn't say that it does, but it does.
Hey, Anthony, I know that Grimm isn't here to defend himself, so I don't want to talk about him. But there is something that he says. He keeps bringing up the equinox.
Yeah, it doesn't do what he says it does.
So I mean, what is his argument there? Why is he saying the equinox?
He argues
totally disproves it.
He argues at the equinox that the sun always rises due east and sets due west. But Kara, who's now deleted a channel, thankfully, modelled this, and it didn't do what they said it did. Even on her own model, it was off. And I don't know why it was off, but she'd put it in, so I can only assume that she'd got it right. But she'd put it in and modelled it, and it didn't set due west. Yet her claim was, everywhere on Earth, during the equinox, the sun will rise due east and set due west. Everywhere. And she bandied on about it, but failed to realise that when she modelled it on Stellarium, that it didn't set due west. It was off. Now, they said, oh, well, it was only off by 1 or 2 degrees. Well, that's important if you're making the point that it rises due east and sets due west. It doesn't do it. I think it was quite clearly demonstrated by what's-his-face, Jake, that in Australia there's an issue. And Jake said the AE map's wrong because of it. Well, the AE map may well be wrong because of it, but the solution would be to relocate Australia to a different location, spin it, push it further around the outside edge, and then it would set perfectly the way it should do. And obviously, people have all said that Australia could be in the wrong place because we have no way of pinpointing its accuracy. And I agree. But Jake was saying that it proves the AE map wrong. It doesn't. Relocate Australia. It may be the proof that Australia is in the wrong place. So it was just a different way to perceive what was being said. But yeah, Gribb says in the equinox it does this. Well, it doesn't. What he claims it doesn't do it. They can model it so that it does do it, and that's what they cite as their evidence. But it doesn't actually do it. That's not how it works. It works like that in some places of the Earth where it's like set in its like perfect place, but it doesn't do it everywhere. So, and it's an inconclusive point anyway, because without curvature, it's not a ball. It's subject to curvature, everything. But yeah, it's a misconception for ball earthers that they misrepresent the importance of the equinox for the ball. It doesn't do what they say it does.
Well, whether the AE map is right or whether it's wrong, I tell you, my mind it needed to see that map because I needed a visualization, and that's all it gave me. I never took that map and told myself or told anybody else, this is the way it is. I've never done that, and.
Yeah, I mean, the celestial sphere point that Tim makes, if you get the Mercator map and just present the Mercator map on screen and then get the blades of a Chinook helicopter and then overlay the blades of a Chinook helicopter, you've got two flat circles that are spinning round that are essentially, in my opinion, electromagnetic. I don't think they're actually real. I don't think they're actually stars. I think that the stars are a creation of interference. Because we can demonstrate that with electromagnetic and sounds, you can play with electromagnetic and frequencies and create our own stars in a jar. You can do that. I think that what we're seeing is the mismatch of sound up there with electromagnetic creating the stars. Or if the stars are real, they're actually in the firmament. That would be the evidence of the firmament, in my opinion. I'm not saying it is because I don't know, but I know what it's not. I know that you can get a P900 focusing on Betelgeuse or Sirius, and you can get Sirius almost to be in focus. You can see that there are psychedelics being represented. Stars. Now, the stars all twinkle, and they say that it's because of the light from the star itself. It's a distant sun. I'm not persuaded by that when you look at the evidence of stars through a P900 because they look like a frequency. They look like they're a sound frequency being manifest in the form of light, in my opinion. I may lose my signal now because I'm in a rural area, so if I get dropped, I'll just drop off for a minute while you guys chat, and I'll probably get back to you shortly.
Cool. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah, I mean, like I told you earlier, Nathan, at least your show, it lets me hear other people's arguments, and it lets me see why they still hang on to that ball. And it's almost like a lot of globe believers put forth evidence that is real hard to either prove or real hard to go and observe. And so I wish that we had that one test that we could go to say, no, look, this is doing this. This is what we see, you know?
Well, I do have that one test for me. That's why I can cite it with absolute confidence in it, because I've done it that many times that unless someone can prove that it's wrong. So, I mean, I do have my own test. Now, I get that other people might not trust or believe it. That's fine. But that's why every flat earther that I know says, don't believe me. Go and do your own research. And I would support that, because if I didn't have my own research and I didn't have confidence in what I know I can achieve when I go and look at that particular place, then I'm trusting that the likes of Jaren, who could be a shill, or Mark Sargent, who could be a shill, I'm trusting them. But anybody in the UK can go up to my observation point in Hoylake, observe Blackpool Tower for yourself, and so long as it's not it, it's the same every time. It's there. It's not falling behind the curve of the earth and coming back again because of refraction. It's just there. It's just a fixture on the land. And now, obviously, logic would tell you that that's what you'd expect it to do. When you actually go there, you wouldn't expect something that was on the horizon to be falling behind the curve of the earth and that defies what you would expect to see on a landscape shot. But when you go there and you actually do it, you realise, of course, it's not going to do that. So for me, that's my own research that I'll stand over again, over and over again, because it gets pointed to over and over and over again, refraction, and then we can go into refraction. And until Mick West changes his website, which he'll have to do at some point, which he's already done once because of me, by the way, but until he changes his website, all the ball earthers get cornered by it because he uses 7/6 of the radius of the Earth to calculate for standard refraction, and he cites the document underneath for it being based on that. And in that document, it doesn't talk about 7/6 of the radius of the Earth. It talks about pressure and it talks about density of the air, but not the Earth. It doesn't talk about Snell's law, the application of Snell's law, and for good reason. Only ball earthers talk about Snell's law in this regard. Now it appears that they might have dropped that now. That might not be the case. I may be a little bit behind, but for the last 2 years, they've all been arguing for Snell's law to explain refraction. Now that appears to have changed. I mean, I'm not sure, Nathan. Am I right?
No.
Hi, Alex. I was just going to say, doesn't Snell's law only apply when there's a change?
When there's a change in medium, yeah.
Exactly.
An isotropic change, but there isn't an isotropic change. There is, but it's the size of the vapor bubble that they're applying it to. It doesn't apply to all the air around it. So the vapor bubble will be tiny.
Hey, what's up, Cat Earth?
We've also been joined by Free-Minded. Good to have you here, Free-Minded, and good to have you here, Alex.
Fellas, Peanut, Riley, Nathan, what's going on?
Yo.
Good morning.
What's up, y'all?
Come away from there, Eleanor. Come away from there. Please don't end the live stream.
Cat Earth, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear like a lot of noise coming from Riley. In more senses than one. Boom, boom.
Oh, right. I thought you meant you could hear my background noise.
No, that's
I didn't realise you were talking about.
No, I meant both. I'm only joking.
Well, I'm at the end of my journey. I need to put some fuel in, so I'll be back. I'll come back on in 15 and see if there's any opposition.
Anthony, are you going to put in some screen wash?
Yeah. No, I don't need screen wash. I'm all good for that.
You're good for that, now.
On my 1999 Range Rover, they don't even get the range the year of the car right. 1999 was not, mine's the L322, which was not 1999. So if their research skills are as good on flat Earth as they are at identifying what year the car is, both don't they? They don't know what year the car is, and they don't know whether the Earth's flat or not. I'm gonna have to go. I need to put fuel in. I'll come back in 10.
Fuel, oil, check your tyre pressures, Riley. I'm worried about the state. You're not looking after your car.
That must be an inside joke with
Thanks for that assertion without evidence.
Steve Anthony
right, I'll be back
joined.
In 10. Bye.
Steve Anthony joined yesterday, and he had an Evoque. It looked really nice.
It did, yeah. He's got to step his. I think Riley's got competition, hasn't he now?
He has.
Got to step his game up.
So what do you know,
Riley's got a lot of money. He saved £1,000 on his bet, so he should, put that down towards a new one. Only joking. What's up, guys? I got the day off, but then
tell us why it's a sphere.
Well,
tell us why it's a sphere, Cat Earth.
Why?
Yeah.
What? Because I got the day off.
No. Tell us why Earth, in your mind, is a sphere.
Oh, again. Okay, so I guess that's why I came. It's a sphere because of everything we observe with our eyes. So obviously the two celestial spheres. We talked about the two celestial poles. We talked about that. We talked about the sun and the moon not changing angle as they set. We talked about things going over the horizon, being obstructed, And I know you could say atmospheric lensing. That isn't actually proven, is it, by anyone?
What about curvature?
Yeah, well, that's all. It's all to do with geometry. So that proves the curvature, right? I mean, things like the equinox as well.
No, I mean,
all that proves the curvature.
Things in the sky and the sun and the moon, stars and all that. I mean,
No, it's just basic geometry, though. It doesn't matter what they are. It doesn't matter if they're just points of reference.
Doesn't really prove flat or round.
Well, it does. If you don't understand why it's not a good, really, really solid, like super, super solid argument for the globe, it just means you're not understanding the point. You haven't visualized it correctly. Because
the curvature should at least be a point.
Okay, so I'll make this explanation of why looking up at things above you and around your environment, can determine what you're standing on. So imagine, like, you got just go with this thought, yeah. Imagine you're like in the middle of your room now, and you're you're standing on a sphere, right? I'm not even talking about the scale of the Earth. I'm just saying you're standing on a sphere, and you're in the middle of your room, suspended, but you can't look down at your feet, right? So you can only look forward. Now, if you keep walking around that sphere, and you see your ceiling, and then you keep walking, you see your door, and you keep walking, you see the floor, and you keep walking, you see your other, your window or whatever, and then you come back around, you eventually see your ceiling again. And then you take another direction and you walk off and you see your other wall and you see your bed, you see your floor again, you see your cupboards, and then you walk around and you see your ceiling again. Eventually, you'd realize you're standing on a ball, right? By the reference of everything around you that you're seeing above you, you could figure that out, right? Because you see a whole complete image of everything around you when you navigate your globe.
I know you want to address that, Free-Minded, but I just want to ask Alex a quick question. Oh, I'm so, is he upsetting you? He's okay. He's a nice man. Right. So, quick question then, Alex. So, you said to visualise that. I've done that. I've been south of the equator and I've observed the South Celestial Pole and I've seen the southern constellations. Right. So, for you, detail how it made you feel when you observed that.
Sorry, cut out for me a bit there. Can you say
so when you observed that example, so you travelled around the Earth to see the South Celestial Pole, describe to me how it made you feel.
Well, I've been to the Southern Hemisphere a few times, but I've never taken a time lapse of the sky. I've never actually taken a time lapse of the sky in the Northern Hemisphere either. I've just seen videos on YouTube of the different celestial points moving around. But the problem I had is that I could not visualize that on a flat plane. So I can't make that work. Now, if you want to make the argument that everything I've seen on YouTube is false, that's fair enough. But I think it's incumbent on the flat earthers to go to the Southern Hemisphere, film the stars not moving clockwise, or somehow show that this isn't the case. Because if you're at the equator and you're seeing the stars go straight above you, above your head, straight, and you look one way, and they're going anti-clockwise, and look the other way and they're going clockwise. How can you explain that on a disc? It can't happen. You can't have a straight star trail above your head on a disc.
I mean, yeah, I understand that argument, but what I'm trying to get across to you is, when I did it, and presumably when you did it, there was nothing in my mind that went, wow, this really proves to me that we're on a sphere. Now, if it was the case that it was in a room and there was a mirror on the wall that was obviously a tangible fixed object that was certainly a thing that I could go and touch, like a mirror, and on the opposite wall there was a picture, and there was a floor beneath me with carpet and a ceiling above me that had a lighting fixture, and I knew all of those things were physical objects. Yes, in your example, as I walked around the ball, it would be blatantly obvious. But when I went to the south and looked at the stars, I wasn't a flat earther. I wasn't thinking in those terms. But not at any stage did I think this proves to me I'm on a ball. It didn't look like I'm looking at fixed reference points moving around a ball. That did not happen. As I flew, I saw a flat plane, and when I arrived, there was just different stars above my head.
Okay, so for the plane one, we could go back and forth on that, but we've shown pictures on here. We showed one to Anthony from a plane where you could see curves. So I think that that all depends on your how much angle you've got to observe when you're on the plane and where you're observing it. But for the stars, I mean, yeah, I never thought about this proves I'm on a ball when I wasn't a flat earther because I wasn't thinking about flat Earth. But certainly it's what was one of the first biggest problems, because obviously when you're dealing with flat Earth, the whole thing for me is to visualize it. So when I wasn't a flat earther, I was like, well, I can't visualize it. And then as I started getting more and more examples, I started to think, yeah, that could make sense in my head. But the killer one, the absolute killer, is the stars.
Okay, well, let me
I
put
honestly
this to
don't
you.
see how that you can't. The
Well,
argument
I know
that
you're
it's not
just about
physical,
to repeat yourself. That's why I'm interrupting. I'm really sorry. I don't normally, but I just want to keep the conversation flowing.
Sorry.
I get what you've said, but
Yeah,
unless you have,
physical.
let's say for the sake of argument, I travel in a different direction. So what we've been told is there's 2 poles above our heads. Yeah. Now we are limited in where we can go, and from a flat earther's perspective, I say we are in a deception. So without the ability to go to a different chunk of Earth and look above and see if there's a third different set of stars with a third pole, I mean, that would completely obliterate.
But where would you fit it in, Nathan? Where would you fit it in the star model we've got? How could you fit that in?
I don't. That's my point. I mean, I can't because I'm limited in where I can travel to, and we're back to the math powerland argument, which is to say, well, if
you're not limited into where you can observe all the stars from. Like there is points that you could go to on Earth, and you can observe every single star. Just because you can't really go to Antarctica, even though you could.
Yeah, but that's the presupposition that we are limited for land, that we are only on the Earth-shaped map and model that they present us with. And without total exploration of that, I can't say for certain that there isn't stuff beyond that. And you're saying, no, well, it's already been decided and we can see everything from everywhere that we know exists. Well, 500 years ago, they told people, here's all of Earth, it's everything. And it was the government telling them, in no uncertain terms, this is all the land. And what do you know? They find America, and then they put that on the map. Well, that's within recent history, relatively speaking. In your ideas of history.
Yeah, but you realise at that point, they didn't have a full-on model such as where they've mapped every single star at every single point. I mean, they probably did from their own location. So you know the idea of snow globe Earth, right? So that the stars are on a sort of globe, and you see that a lot, the snow globe model. And the reason that the sky is a globe or half a globe, well, it's an entire globe moving around a disk, right? And they believed the sun and the moon were going underneath the Earth and then coming back around, because they understood the point that the sphere is the stars are basically on a sphere as far as they could see, moving around them, including the sun and moon. They weren't moving around a disk, around the top of a disk. They were moving around us and going underneath and setting. They knew that already, and it's nothing to do with the fact whether you know it's physical or it's an intangible object. They're still objects that follow the laws of perspective, unless you're saying they're locally projected holograms into our heads individually, which is pretty crazy.
I'm not pretending to know what they are. That's not what I'm doing here. What I'm trying to get across to you is that...
That's why I'm saying it doesn't matter what they are. That's the point I'm making about you saying we don't know what they are. It doesn't matter what they are, because they could be lights, they could be angels, they could be anything. But the point is they're still following the laws of perspective. That doesn't change.
Right, but that's not my point that I'm trying to get across to you. I will butt out now that you've piped up for I promise.
That's okay.
But the point I'm trying to get across to you is that a few hundred years ago, we were told in no uncertain terms that they knew, and they were wrong. Now we are told in no uncertain terms that they know. Do you understand what I'm saying? They tell us.
No, sorry, I don't know what they knew about. What do they knew?
How much land there was. How much land there was and how it was laid out. And they knew and paraded it around to the people to say, this is what your world looks like. We know. We are certain. Before that, they told them they had, as you put it, angels. And believe me, you were burnt at the stake if you disagreed. They told you and you had to accept it. That was how it was. Now, you're under the impression now that, oh, well, they've figured it out and we know. And yes, I haven't necessarily gone and done the time lapses, but I take it as read that that's how it matches with the model. Well, we don't know that isn't false.
Well, no, but I think honestly, I'm not trying to be mean, like rude. Sorry, I just mean it's a simple geometric problem. I think you're trying to that you're not understanding. It's just a very strong point. You can see from every point on the Earth all the stars. We've mapped them out from every point on the entire Earth.
How do you know you're seeing all of Earth? We're going around in circles. Because
you can look at a whole map of the stars. Nathan,
you're saying we know from every perspective.
You can predict every star and every movement and where it's going to be and when eclipses are going to happen.
How do you know that that's all of the land? How do you know that there's not more land with a different set of stars above it?
There may be more land that's somewhere, but it's got
wouldn't
to
that
still be on the
completely
same
destroy
contained
the
sphere.
two poles argument if there was a different set of stars above that land?
Sorry, so you say there's a different set of stars? Yeah,
No,
but we'd be
what
able
I'm
to
saying
see it
is-
from some other point in the globe.
Without interrupting, let me break it down once, then I'll shut up, right?
Okay.
Sorry about my kid making noise. Within relatively recent history, we have been told this is how much land there is, and they were wrong. Now you're saying we know what all the stars look like from all of the land. Well, in relative recent history, we have been falsely led to believe how much land
So
we
where is
have.
this, Nathan? When was this that they told us they knew all the land?
Mapper Monday, go and have a look at my video.
Did they actually have, or was it just still a theory at the time? Because, you know,
So
when Columbus sailed to
heliocentric model's
America,
a theory. Heliocentric
They
model's
weren't-
just a theory. What are you talking about? My point is that within relative recent history, we have
they
been
told us they
found
had
to
the land and
have
we didn't have the land. I'm not sure they
more
said that. Well,
land.
this is 100% all the land in the world, and then we're going to sail the other way around, and then they found, you know, they said that it's a globe, right? They said, we know this is a globe, and they tried to sail to India, and they bumped into America, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Right, they didn't have the New World on the map. So
Yeah, but they
at
knew
the
it was a
time,
globe, didn't
they
they?
told us this is all of it. Well, they were wrong. Now you're saying the same thing.
They weren't
We
wrong
know
about it being
because
a
we've
globe.
seen all
They
of
just
it.
didn't know how much more land there was. They didn't know every country.
Right, but they said that they did.
They only found out recently because Jon Snow crossed the ice wall.
No, but you see what I'm saying, Nathan? They still knew it was a globe because they decided to sail the other way.
No,
to
they
avoid
didn't.
Africa, right?
They didn't. Oh, go and watch my video on the Mapper Monday. That's a flat Earth map, and it depicts all the land in a circle, contained, and it's presented to the people as this is what we have as our.
So Nathan, you think that now you think there's no difference between now and 300 years ago, where they hadn't sailed everywhere, they hadn't done everything, they hadn't tracked everything, didn't have satellites, whether you believe them or not, or weather balloons tracking, you know, whatever you want to believe Google is, which we have now.
I'm just stating
you're thinking-
facts. The fact is,
Yeah,
they
but
told
but
us
what
we
I'm
had this
saying
much
is
land.
They might not have
X.
knew where the land was, but they still knew the shape of the Earth and the ball. So finding extra countries that they hadn't found yet because we hadn't explored enough.
No, you're wrong.
It's not the same
That's-
thing.
You're just making that up. Go and watch
And
my
they did
video on the Mapper
no,
Monday.
and why did? No, I'm not sure. And why did they? What did they find any more stars when they got to America? Oh, look, here's some new stars we didn't know about that we haven't seen revolve around the disk before.
That's my point. My point
But they
is.
didn't, did they? They didn't find any more stars.
My point is, your argument is we know we only have two celestial poles because we've been and observed all the land. And in recent history,
how do
they
you
have been.
three poles
You
on
just
a-
won't.
on a
You just
circle?
won't. You won't let me. You just keep talking over the top of my point every
Because you
single
keep making
time.
the same point, Nathan. You are repeating yourself. You're
Yeah, of
saying
course.
the same thing.
Because you
Yeah.
want to stand by. We know what all the land is. That's nonsense.
No, I
Within
want to
recent
stand by. We
history,
know the shape
been
of the
proved
Earth.
wrong.
There might be other countries, yeah, that we've never discovered. Like I doubt it, or they're hiding. You know, that's fair enough. But that is irrelevant to the shape of the Earth. You're saying, what if there's a third celestial pole? That to me shows you don't understand what a ball is. I mean, you can't have three spinning poles, can you?
Right.
I mean, it's not possible.
I don't think we do live on a ball. That's my point.
No,
you're
I
saying,
know,
oh
but
well, you must
I'm saying,
understand how the ball works because this must
you
work.
think
It's on a
stars are
ball.
sphere, because that's
What?
been going wrong as long as flat Earth. They've understood the stars are on a sphere. I mean, that's where you get the globe, you know, the snow globe from. That's the point of the snow globes, because they knew the sky was a sphere. Because they're watching it move around. They're tracking the stars.
But that was wrong
So
also, correct?
Well, no, they were right about the stars. It's because they hadn't got enough points of observation from the ground, and that's what we have now.
So heaven forbid, if we found more observation points, we could be proved wrong again.
No, Nathan. They're seeing the same stars wherever they go, but this is what I'm saying about how you can figure out the shape of the ground from looking up. If you take enough different observation points, you'll realise we're on a sphere as well, because
That's
we can
what we
see all the
currently-
stars from different points of the globes at all times.
But if
All
you were-
stars are accounted for.
If you were
There's
to
no room to fit another pole in.
but if you were to withhold certain information that disagreed with that cosmology, then obviously that would completely alter the cosmology if we were to see it.
No, but Nathan, from every point, right, you're going to see some of the constellations at some point, right? So you're saying that there's a third. So you're imagining that there's a kind of a triple globe, a kind of three domes all matched together, or four or five or whatever you want to say, and they're all spinning independently, right?
That's not what I'm
Weren't you
saying.
just using that as an example?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I am
Well, you're saying there
is,
could be another pole. You said there could be another pole, a third pole.
no, this is why I
But
keep
how do we
repeating
add that in?
myself. This is why I keep repeating myself, because every time I try and get my point out concisely, you interrupt me. My point is that we have been told the Earth is a certain way, with a certain amount of land, a certain number of observation points, and that was proven to be incorrect in our recent history. So with more observation points today, which may very well be the case, our cosmology may change. I'm not postulating what it may change to. I'm just saying that we have been shown fact to have had more land. That may still be the case. And that being the case, it may alter our cosmology. You're saying, we know, we've got every observation point covered. Well, no.
Yes, we have.
Found more land on Mars.
That's why we've
Right,
got
well, that's what they told them 500 years ago. They told them that 500 years ago, and they were wrong.
Why are you not understanding that? I can accept that they might. That is a different point. To say that they didn't know where a certain continent, they didn't know about a continent, doesn't mean they hadn't figured out the shape of the Earth. They're actually irrelevant. It's actually irrelevant because when they got to the America, did they see any more extra stars they've never seen before? Did they go, oh, look, we found a whole new celestial sphere or whatever?
You're diminishing the point. They found an entire continent.
No, I agree with that. I agree with they did that. But did they find any extra stars to prove your point?
So
that if we
at this
find
stage,
more land,
do you
we'll find
concede?
extra cosmology.
Do you concede that it's possible
What do you mean?
and has been shown that we have
Cosmology.
Grimm's hijacking my
Cosmology.
point now?
Yeah, yes, I
World is wrong.
concede that, Nathan. I concede that. But do you concede that when
Right.
they found America, they didn't find any extra stars or any more cosmology?
I don't
However you
know.
wanna say.
I wasn't around at the time.
No, they didn't. They didn't. They didn't find extra stuff in the sky. It didn't change their view of how the shape of the sky,
Well,
what's revolving around us.
I'll just say it again. I wasn't there. I don't know.
Okay. But they didn't.
Well, it just seems odd that at the time they found it, prior to that, what they presented was a circular flat map, which was a flat Earth map. And then they find the Americas and the cosmology changes. Then they present us with globes. That's a fact. So literally, hold on. Literally, what you have just said is accurate. The cosmology did change.
No, it didn't. It didn't change. We're talking about what we know about up in the
Just
sky.
a
It didn't
denier.
change
You don't
because
understand
of America.
what you're talking about. You have no idea what the Mapper Monday is. You don't know what you're talking about. You're wrong.
What? So they found extra stars when they went to America.
The cosmology changed from being a flat, circular world to a globe.
Well, hang on. The Greeks knew it was round. So
Oh,
how
here
could
we
the
go.
Cosmology have just changed.
Oh, so it's 2,000-year-old cosmology now. Okay, well, fact,
Well,
proof,
no, but I'm saying,
documented.
You can
Go and
figure
watch
these things
it.
out with observation, Nathan.
Right, go and have a look
Just-
at my video about the Mapper Monday. Knock yourself out.
I saw it years ago. About a year ago or something. Anyway, I saw it when I was still a flat earther, Nathan. I mean, it's interesting stuff, but you're not grasping just very basic geometry here. You're saying this.
Changing
they
my
can find
point.
extra land.
My point
That's fair
is,
enough, but
more land may change our cosmology, and did.
no, it did. It can't. Look, it may change the way what we understood. Those people may not have known, and
the
now
same
they
thing.
found more, and they're like, "Oh, look, we've got another point of reference. It all makes sense now." But
Oh right,
there's
so
no way
suddenly
you
then
add more
so at that
stars.
point they were right. So 5 minutes before when they didn't realise they were wrong, but they told everyone
Well,
they
no,
were right.
I said they may. I don't know the actual truth. That may have happened. I'm just trying to give
That's
you.
what I said.
give you-
I don't know. I wasn't there. Now
I'm
you're
trying-
using
yeah.
that. You
Yeah, I'm
said a
trying to
minute
give
ago
you
you
that,
did know.
Nathan.
You
That's
did
what
know
I'm
all
trying to
about
do there.
it.
I'm trying to give you that. They didn't know, and then they got there and they knew. I'm trying to say.
And you
give
used
you that
Greeks
point.
as the example.
No. Yeah, that was an older point. I'm saying here, yes, I'm giving you. Maybe they didn't know. They didn't know anything. They thought it's all flat. They had a flat map. They're like, we're sure about this. They got to America. They changed their mind. I'll give that to you.
Cosmology is a strong word for that too, because that's like.
Well,
the
he's saying
origins of the
they
universe,
went from
the study of
believing
the
it's flat,
origins of the
and
universe.
then they
Too
got to
noisy,
America
and now
and
my
they round.
kids.
So it all
I'm
changed.
gonna
That's all I'm
drop
saying.
out.
I'll give you that, but it doesn't make
I'm not
any
losing
difference.
on the argument.
Hey, Cat,
doesn't-
Guys, by the way,
Cat, let me give you my analogy then. You gave me yours
good morning, Free.
about your. Good morning. What's up, man?
Hey.
say you okay, I'm on a room and I'm in a room and you're telling me it's round. I'm on a ball. The room is shaped like a ball, right? And then you tell me my table is on the other side of this ball, and you show me the math. But then I can see the table. So what would that mean?
No math. No math. You don't need any math.
I can see the table that you said is on the other side of the ball.
Well, you're standing on a mini ball in your room, yeah, in the middle of your
Right.
room. Yeah.
And you're
so you
telling
can
me
see
my
your
table is on the other side of this ball. Other side of my room is on the other side of the ball. But I
Outside
can
of
see
your
it.
universe, right? Is that what you're
Right.
saying?
So
But I
yeah,
can
you're
see it. No, I'm on a ball. My room's a ball.
yeah. No,
You're
your
telling
room's
me
just
my
your room.
table.
Your room's just your
Yeah.
room. Yeah.
Well, I'm on a ball, and the table is on the other side.
Yeah. So if
But
you
then I
walk
can
around,
still
you'll
see it.
Yeah.
But I can see it
From where?
from where I'm standing at. You're telling me my table is on the other side of this ball that I'm on, right?
Okay.
But then I can see it. So
yeah, when you look
what
up,
would that
right?
mean? No, I can see it when I look forward. I can still see this table.
Not enough data
You can still
points.
see the table. So what I'm saying is, if you keep walking forward, then what are you going to see? If you're standing on a ball, you see your table when you look forward. Now you
No,
keep
I'm
walking
saying
around that
you're
ball.
telling
What do
me.
you see?
No, what I'm saying is you're telling me I'm on a ball, right? You show me
Yeah.
the
Biggest
math,
ball.
and you show me where I'm not able to see this table because it's on the other side, right?
Yeah.
But I can see it.
Can you draw a
I
picture?
really
of
don't
it?
understand what you're saying. So you're standing on the other side of the ball where you can't see where the table's. So you're on the other side of the ball to the table,
Right.
but you can still see the table, even though the ball's in the way of the table.
Is it a
It's
big ball?
it's supposed to be in the way of the table, but I can see it.
Well, then if it's either in the way of the table or it isn't, which one is it?
It's not. You're telling me it is.
It's not in the way of the table. That's why you can see it.
Exactly.
I don't understand your point. What I'm trying to say is that if you can see your table, right, like you're standing on the ball in the middle of your room, and you look straight ahead, you see your table. But if you
Right.
keep walking forward, right, towards that table, and you're going around the ball, eventually you see your floor, right? That becomes what you start seeing. And if you keep walking again and again, you'll see the other wall away from the table on the other side of the room. And you keep walking, and you'll see the ceiling. And you keep walking, and then you see the table again. That's the point I'm making to you.
What I'm saying is this table is on the other side of this ball that I'm on, and I'm not supposed to be able to see it because this ball is in my way, right? The curvature of this ball is in my way.
Right, okay, I see what you're saying.
You're telling me this. You show me the math, right?
I
The
got
math
this.
is okay. It makes sense. But then I can see the table.
I got this one. Well, you're not doing all the math. There's part of the refraction math you're not seeing, since you can see further than 180 degrees because of the refraction. It's the refraction math that you've left out. So you're not doing all the math.
Tell me this. So refraction will allow me to see.
supposed
So
to be
tell
able
me
to
this.
see
Refraction will
past
allow me to
underneath
see someone who's
here.
around the corner. If
It seems
someone's
like you're the one
around
who needs to
corner,
learn here. So while you're being taught, you should probably be quiet. Then you can learn. It's simple as that.
It doesn't make sense. So I can see somebody
It only
around the
doesn't
corner.
make sense until you learn.
Refraction. Answer me that. Can I see somebody that's around a corner due to refraction?
Yes.
I have no further questions. That's it. I
So-
can. Can you prove?
So
Yes,
light
you can.
bends.
Have you ever seen
I
a
can
mirror?
see somebody. I can see somebody around a corner due to refraction.
Yes.
Where's some proof of that? I want
Look
to see
up the
a
word
video of that.
refraction real quick so you can make sure you understand that you're asking the proper question before you dance around acting like you made a victory.
Well, let me get this straight though. You're saying I can see somebody who's around the corner due to refraction.
Yeah, we're telling you about that right now. It's
Can you
called
show
being
me
able
that?
to see the sun on the horizon. When you see the sun on the horizon,
I'm not talking about the sun. I'm talking about somebody's
It's
around
not really in that position. Are you listening?
around the corner, and I
Are
can
you
see
listening?
them due to refraction.
I'm not going to be able to teach the class if you don't silence up a little bit.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
So when you're on the other side, when the sun is on the horizon and you are seeing it from
I'm
your
not
perspective,
talking about the sun. Listen,
as the sun is on the
I'm not
horizon.
talking about the sun. I'm talking about
Yeah, but
somebody
you're
around
talking
the corner.
about but I'm talking about a grand distance with lots of medium in the way. You're talking
You're
about
changing-
shrinking and erasing all that medium and trying to get the same result, which is not doing physics.
You're saying I can see somebody around
You're trying
the
to
corner.
erase all the distance between me and the sun and turning it into
refraction.
me in the room. Okay, where there's no medium. The medium is the atmosphere. You're taking away the control, the event of the room that actually creates the phenomena. So of course it's not going to work that way. So you must use your noggin.
You're in the same medium.
Right, but there's much more of it, which means now it's much denser.
So you're saying I can
so
see
much more
somebody
to go through.
Somebody goes around a corner, it's possible for me to see them due to refraction.
Right.
And they're around the corner.
Right. Do you know what refraction
can you show
means?
me that? Yeah. But I just think it's irrelevant when we're looking at things and we're in the same medium. It's not like you're in a pool looking outside the pool, or you're above the pool looking in the pool. It's not like that. We're in the same medium.
But isn't that your explanation for
it's
atmospheric
irrelevant.
lensing?
No, you're absolutely incorrect. On those vast distances, we're not in the exact same medium. There are different temperature zones. There's all kinds of stuff. Plus, there is a lot more Rayleigh effect, a lot more blue light scattering, a lot more complete refraction. And it is that way because when the sun hits the atmosphere from its position under the horizon, it creates an image of the sun about as deep as the horizon or the atmosphere is up and to the top of the horizon where the observer actually is. The sun isn't really exactly right there while you see it setting. It's already a little lower than that, but you're only seeing the image of it because it's being bent up and around the globe. Now, if the atmosphere wasn't round, you wouldn't get that effect.
Shouldn't that image be inverted? How does it refract it exactly the way it is?
Right, exactly the way it is.
Exactly.
Oh, well, I'm asking. I'm asking you.
Yeah, it is, and actually, it's a little bit distorted too. You ever see the sunrise look like a keyhole, or look like different types of shapes because it's distorted?
I mean, I'm not really talking about the sun. I made that clear earlier. I don't want to talk about the stars.
We're talking about light refracting through the atmosphere, which is exactly what we're talking about.
Sorry to interrupt that little tete-a-tete, but we have about 15 minutes left on this broadcast. Hope you're all enjoying the show thus far. If you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. And if you would like to join the debate, there is a link in the info box below this video. With your page that you are currently watching me on mute, please do not join the show with your watch page playing. Click mute on the watch page before clicking the link in the info box to join the show and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are only a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. Number 2, if you are ejected for swearing, please do not try to rejoin using sock accounts. If you've not done so already, please share the show on social media. And as I say, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. There are maybe, as I say, about maybe 10 minutes left on this stream if you did want to join to do a last bit of trolling or expressing your views on the shape of the Earth.
Someone around the corner with refraction.
I'm not talking about a mirror,
sir. You did not say any other kind of refraction. You just used the word refraction, and I tried to ask you to clarify what you mean by refraction in the very beginning, but you did not know how to do so. Therefore, you cannot say my statements are incorrect because you don't even know the definitions for the words that you're using, sir.
You are saying I can look around the corner.
I think you just got owned. All right, next.
Free. Let me just put an assertion to you, Free, that I'm going to ask you: do you agree or disagree? Do you think Grimm is misusing the word reflection instead of the word refraction, and he's using the definitions to win his point? Because it sounds to me that looking around corners is reflection, not refraction.
Yes, that sounds about right.
So Grimm,
it made no sense what he said. If refraction makes if refraction will make you look, I mean, looking around the corner is the same thing as looking around the ball, right?
Yeah,
you're looking around the corner. So you saying I can see somebody from around the corner due to refraction?
It's not really the same thing, is it?
It is. That's exactly what it is.
Because you need a corner.
How's it different?
Obstructive curve, like you're saying, through the atmosphere as well.
Yeah, but we can demonstrate what refraction really is. I know what Ball Earthers say it is, but we can show it evidentially what refraction really is.
So I looked up refraction because Grimm told us to. It says the fact or phenomenon of light, radio waves, etc., being deflected in passing oblongly through an interface between one medium and another through another medium.
Are we
Varying
in
density.
two mediums?
Exactly. No, we're not.
That's what it says. I mean, he
Yeah,
told me
yes,
to
you
look up the
are.
definition.
You
So we're
always
looking
are.
through two mediums.
We're not in two different. Yeah, we're not in two different mediums. We're in the same medium.
It is. The sun is not in the atmosphere, sir.
But we're not in. Yeah, but when we're in the medium.
I already tried to explain to that. He keeps trying to create parameters to a situation that isn't happening. It's not analogous to what's happening on the sun. Can you see somebody around the corner? That's not what we're talking about. You're not outside of the atmosphere when you're around the corner, so he's not labeling that experiment correctly.
Nathan, could you just
explain that to him over and over again? Sorry, dude.
Nathan, just share my screen for us. We can demonstrate what refraction is, and we can show it. Now, when you put these into words, it's difficult to describe what you're seeing, but we know what we're not seeing. We can see clearly that the effects of refraction is a stretching and a shrinking on the horizon, but we are not able to see around the curve, A, because there is no curve, but even if there was a curve, we can demonstrate that we're not seeing any more or any less because the mountain that's demonstrated in the background is not zooming towards us or getting further away. So we can show empirically that there is no looking around the curve. All we're seeing is stretching and shrinking of the horizon, which is that is refraction. It's not this arc mathematics that you guys accept.
Refraction is an arbitrary word for a lot of different phenomena. Okay,
yeah, so it's an arbitrary word for lie.
Label it as one of the. You don't make any sense.
Well, no, evidence makes a lot more sense. I might not make sense, but this is, you can see that we are not looking around the curve.
So if there's no
medium, showing me a camera with aperture issues, right?
Oh, here we go. Go on. What gish?
Here we go. Here we go. You think it looks that pixelated in real life?
What's your point?
You're trying to tell me that everything's this pixelated in real life? What you're looking at?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
And
what I'm saying
don't have a problem. Right.
What I'm saying is that we are not looking behind any curve here. We are seeing refraction, but we are not looking behind any corner or curve.
No, we're definitely not looking behind a corner because you could quite clearly see the stuff behind
corn there either. Right, no corn.
I mean, there's stuff behind it as well, right? I mean,
yeah, that's what I mean. The mountain in the background.
That's not being hidden by a curve. Yeah, you
correct.
See stuff behind it.
Correct. So what we're saying is this refraction isn't looking around the corner the way that.
So when something is behind the curve and the bottom of it's hidden, how is that happening?
Well, where is the curve in the first place to assert that it's behind it? But
look behind it. There's things behind the curve, right?
Yeah,
the right, very back.
Picture,
so how? Or if you show a boat or something.
Yeah, but
you can't see the bottom, or you see a city line, right? If you see a city line with the bottom missing, how does that work on the plan?
Just so you guys know, there's about maybe 5 minutes. Sorry to interrupt you, Alex. There's about 5 minutes left on this broadcast, just so you guys know.
Demonstration that actually accurately represents what we're talking about.
Did you guys hear that?
Let me address the boats going over the curve.
Yeah. Or a city skyline, anything being hidden by curve properly. How does that work then?
All right. So basically, between us and the boat, if there's an incoming tide,
dude, nope.
Let him speak it.
If there's an incoming tide between us and the subject matter, what happens is the shoreline that the tide is running up against is pushing against the water, and it creates a concertina effect, and it pushes the water line up because it's resisting the incoming tide.
So it makes a water
that name of that effect.
That chops the bottom of boats off. Yeah.
You're talking too fast. Would you say that? What kind of effect?
Well, if you were listening, you'd have heard it. Everybody else.
I said you were talking too fast. I don't understand you sometimes, so I asked you to repeat it.
I reckon you understand me.
Effect.
I think you misunderstand me a lot of the time, to be honest, Grim.
I think we all do.
Yeah, no, you do.
Let's just go. Let's just keep going. You got 5 minutes.
So, what kind of effect did you claim it was?
It's bulging. The water's bulging.
It's a concertina effect.
Oh, that's a scientific word for the bulging effect. Oh, okay.
It's a concertina effect caused by the shore repelling the incoming tide.
A Constantier effect?
No.
So water isn't always level then, is it? It's sort of bulging.
Can you spell that for me?
When there's an incoming tide, it'll bulge again. Yeah, because what happens is the shoreline pushes against the incoming tide. It creates a force against it, and it will rise up a little bit in the short ground because that's what we're seeing with the boats disappearing from the hull.
Why is there a tide?
So no, but forget that. Why is sorry, Grim. So what I'm more interested to say, even if you see a big city skyline and a lot of that is blocked, is that all bulge? Is it? Is all the water bulging?
Well, this is where we go to Jenna Frodo, right? This is the bit where we go to Jenna Frodo.
Yeah.
Fredo.
Yeah.
So let's flick this on. Damn adverts.
Watch the whole advert. Be kind. Yeah.
I'm hoping this is the one where she shows how close she is to the waterline. I think it is. Is it? No. So the issue. What is your question?
Why is some of the bottom of the city skyline blocked out?
Well, you can see that there's a band of heat haze here. Yeah, the top part of it, and then you can see that there's another line underneath that is a clearly defined line. That means that we can't see where the shoreline is.
Well, I've only seen it on this picture. I've seen other pictures where you don't have that.
Really?
There's supposed to be 486 feet.
Picture there, Slickery.
So supposed to be 480 feet of curvature right there.
Want me to do it?
And it's not.
Yeah, but what we're saying is if you're saying there can't be any refraction or whatever and there's no medium change, then how is this effect created? Because I always hear from flat earthers about atmospheric lensing, which will require, changes in density.
I'm not sure what you're asking because to me it looks right. I have seen ball earthers, but I have to question the
So
authenticity.
you're saying this whole thing's a bulge then? That's what it is a bulge.
I'm saying there's no bulge.
No bulge in this one. So the bottom is obstructed. Why? Because of heat haze.
Well, there appears to be something atmospheric going on here, which is demonstrably the case here with this dark blue line. We have a wavy line on top and a wavy line underneath. That's opaque. We can't see.
It's supposed to be 480 feet blocking it. And that's not
it's demonstrable because we got this one video with this line.
One video. I mean, there's other evidence that we can compare and contrast this with to see.
Yeah, but it's not demonstrable, is it? It's just that's what you think that line is.
Well, do you understand what demonstrable means?
Yeah, it means you can demonstrate it.
There you go. So it is demonstrable.
So why don't you demonstrate it?
This isn't demonstrating it. This is just a picture, and you're saying what you think it is.
Okay. So, oops, shit, it's gone wrong. Let me reopen
Interesting though. Interesting in this picture. How high is that person standing? Could we know?
Yeah,
6 feet.
She pans down to her feet at the end of the clip. Watch.
Okay.
So she zooms out. Oh shit, that's not the right one, is it?
Look, her camera's got the city smaller than a pixel. It's almost disappeared.
Yeah,
now.
that's because it's like 35 miles away. That wasn't the one of the best videos that she uses.
I got it on mine. I
might be able to get it on quick because it shows her
about
literally
60 seconds to
to
do it. If you do want to show her feet at the beach, we have had it on one of these streams, but you've got about 60 seconds to do it.
It's feet time. Let's go.
Equinox.
Okay, can you somebody share my? Can I share my screen? Hold on.
There's only 60 seconds left.
Share your own screen.
All right.
Damn, and I didn't even get to the part where I wanted to catch Grim with his claim, the assertion that the.
Can y'all see my screen?
Oh, you wouldn't have got me anyway.
Yeah, we see your screen. If you can make it
Next time you're on, Grim, if I catch you, I'm going to have you. So be ready for your arguments.
Come on, Riley.
I hope you remember you said that.
I will. The next time I catch you online, we're going to deal with that 8 inches per mile misrepresentation.
Oh, sure. We sure will.
No worries. I look forward
Come
to
on, Graham.
So you say there's a heat haze here, and it's dropping. It's doing what? How is the heat haze obstructing the bottom of all those buildings?
We're going to get kicked in.
Been joined by Adam.
No, we don't get kicked. It carries on.
Good to have you here, Adam.
Oh, we got the feet. What's up, Adam?
How's it going?
And get ready for the trolling portion.
There's no point starting.
Avatar gets me every time. So, but seriously, what's your explanation? It's a heat haze and what?
Heat haze and what for what?
Why is it obstructed at the bottom?
There's supposed to be 480 feet blocking this right here.
There's no bulge.
But I don't understand what you're saying is blocking. Where's
Well, you can't see the beach, can you? You can't see anything on the you can't see the docks or whatever's there.
I addressed it. I said that there's a band that's affecting.
So that band definitely. So if we overlay the skyline over that, there'll just be the docks missing on the band, and everything else is there in the roads.
I guess so. Can you do that?
And it'll all match to the bottom line. I don't know.
The problem is you can't.
You should try and do it if that's what you think. If you think there's no obstruction there, and it's just
the problem is though you can't tell where the horizon is. So even though, I mean, I'm not saying the horizon is one of the top or bottom lines. What I'm saying is that band affects where we see. The horizon is somewhere in between there.
And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the live audience for joining us on this debate, and also a massive thank you to the panel for making the debate possible. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.